Number 4 is a big one because this covers a few things that I think are absolutely essential. One being the open house registration system. So you all know what open houses are, how they work. Usually there's a form that people fill out to get in. We're going to show you a way to handle that in a digital way. And then also using action plans to remarket to your database. Okay, so using your property specific action plans to retarget older leads, wake up the database, use your listings as the content to do that. Let's talk a little bit about the re-engagement plan first. If you have a CRM, then you probably have action plans. That's pretty standard in most CRMs. What we always recommend is when you have a new listing and you have it in the website, let's use a multi-channel communication plan to re-engage your CRM. So the leads in your database are not there to collect dust, okay? The idea is to always have communication plans that we're sending out to re-engage with those leads, to wake them up, to let them know you're still here, right? You're still here, you're still trying to get through to them, you're still providing value and content. So don't be afraid to communicate with your database. Listings are a perfect example of the type of content that you can be sharing. This particular plan that we're looking at, and this is essentially a plan that exists within the CRM for a listing, that first nudge is a ringless voicemail. Okay, so that's the first touch. Okay, we call it nudge. You may be familiar with the word touch, but that's the first part that goes out. And that voicemail is your voice. Okay, that shouldn't be AI. That should actually be your voice letting your prospects know that you have a new listing and that you're going to be providing them with more information on that property. The second touch is an MMS. MMS is a multimedia, in this case, it's a photo of the property. So they first get that voicemail, and then they receive a text with an image of the property. And then immediately after, they get a third text with a personal message to them with a link to the property that is on your website. And then the fourth touch is an email with more information on that property. So we're using 4 channels for our communication. And this is going to be impossible for someone to ignore, right? You're really taking a multi-channel approach to promoting your listing. Another amazing benefit to offer to your sellers, to say, I'm going to be marketing your property to all of my best prospects within my CRM, of which there are 10,000. Like you can give them a number of leads that you have in your CRM, right? Sometimes people actually have a whole stack of buyers in waiting that they like to present during their listing presentations. But this should actually be implemented, right? You should be doing this when you have a listing, market it to your database. Now, the second part of this is about new leads. And this is when you have an open house. Instead of having a sheet, a form that people can scribble in their chicken scratch, their name and their phone number and their email that you won't be able to read after, have them scan a QR code and then go to a specific open house registration page on your website. So this is a very simple form that you have on your site for that listing. And you can try this actually. I don't know if it should work. If you hold your phone up to that QR code, you will see that this actually goes to a real page. And that way, anyone who goes to an open house, they're going to automatically go through to your CRM. Now, the QR code itself, it does need to be set up, right? There are some technical things that need to happen there. What I like to do is make sure that the QR code is directing someone to a tracking URL. Now, a URL, as you know, is a website address. It's a specific address on the web that people can go to. But you can also have tracking URLs that include a tracking code so that when the lead comes in from that open house, you know exactly where they came from. That's really important. You want to know exactly what page, what campaign, how did this person end up in my CRM? Really important information. So the information in that QR code is important. We want to make sure that it's going to the right place. So there are some technical things that need to happen, but you also want to make it super easy for people to fill this out on their phone. That way, you're not going to run into any issues with people complaining that, that it's not working or that they're having trouble. You don't want to be driving them to a long website name or things like that. Just give them a QR code, make sure that it's going to the right place, and you'd be surprised at how effective it is in getting those open house leads into your CRM. And once you have them in your CRM, that's when we can start our re-engagement plans. That's when we can put them onto things like our monthly newsletter. We can have them be a part of a special activity plan. What I like to do is make sure that we have a follow-up plan specifically for that open house in place for those leads. And that brings us to our next use case. So this gentleman, Dan J, he is a top SoCal realtor. He's out in Corona, actually. And he's just recently implemented this for his open houses. And we've connected a re-engagement plan to market also his new and sold listings to his best prospects. And it's always a challenge for me to create visuals for these things because a lot of them are systems and there's so many steps often that goes into it. But I'll do my best to explain this because it is really important to understand how this flow works. When the lead comes in from that open house landing page, okay, we know exactly where it's coming from. So we can launch this action plan, which includes an email and a text message that is all about thanking them for attending the open house. If you're interested, here's where you can get more information on the property. So we're sending out an email and a text. Now that can be delayed, right? You don't necessarily want to send that right away because they could still be in the house. And if they're getting emails and texts from you while they're in the house, that's a bit weird. What we'll want to do is delay it so that they receive it 2 hours, 3 hours after the lead comes in. So after they attended the open house. And in this case, it did get a response, right? He got a call back and he got a text back that was quite positive. Someone was really interested in that property. And to me, that's just a perfect example of things working exactly the way that they should. Instead of having this list of names that you have to go now back into your CRM and type them all in and make sure they've got the right tags and put in your notes, that can take a lot of time. And sometimes people just end up like with these stacks of paper and they don't actually put them into their CRM, which again is a huge wasted opportunity. So if you have a system like this, it really can save you a ton of time and boost your efficiency 100%. Yes, it does require a little bit of setup, right? You got to make sure that all these things are in place before the open house. It's not something that you can be doing an hour before the open house happens. It's much easier to print out a sign-in sheet in that case, but it's worth the effort. And once you have it, for one, you can always, again, rinse and repeat. copy that page, change the address, create a new QR code, copy that action plan, change the listing. And if you're a client of success, we can certainly help you with all of these things and make sure that it's all set up properly. But all of the tools that I'm showing you really are things that can be done within a robust website or CRM system.